welcome to another episode of Bars and Threads featuring in Paris, a hip hop head, me, Jhob 360. I am him, hip hop historian, former lyricist, and also on point to fashion and sneakers till no end. This is episode 10, Fundamental Facts Friday, the Triple F Part 2. I noticed that these Triple F chapters haven't been the greatest, or episodes haven't been the greatest. Every time I do 5, I go back to the old school. I've even noticed that on the Instagram page, like it's really tanked out. Like people really don't know that I'm just talking about, bringing you up to beat before I get real technical, this hip hop thing. So Fundamental Facts Friday is just bringing you up to the date to let you understand the MCs that I listen to and others around me listen to and what was very impactful at the moment in time. All right, we're going to move on to, the year was 1973. We were in the South Bronx. It was August 11th, 1973. The name of Kool Herc is going to pop up. It comes into play on 1520 Cedric Avenue. And that is the birth of I would say, the break beats and the hip hop, and MCs rapping to the break beats at a party. So that is the actual start of hip hop. A lot of influences such as Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash started to develop a lot of the culture, along with Lovebug Starski. The man who named hip hop was Lovebug Starski. Shout out to him, for actually coming out and naming hip hop. Then you have artists like Curtis Blow, Blowfire Lightning Rod, Houdini, the breakdance crew Rocksteady was out at the time battling crews in New York on the cardboard. Shout out the Rocksteady crew, Crazy Legs and them. The Cold Cuts Brothers, Sugar Hill Gang. Blondie released The Rapture, and KRS-One did redo The Rapture. That's all on the Instagram page. If you want to go through the Instagram page, please go to the Instagram, follow it. If you don't want to hear no yapping, just the rapping, that's the perfect place for you to be. Rappers Delight really shifted the culture when Blondie releases that and was on the charts for a very, very, very long time. Close to the time where a group called Run DMC was forming. Treacherous 3 released the new rap language, speed rapping, basically. A little bit of what would be considered, I would say, sniping, but not sniping like we thinking in the terms of sniping or Eminem sniping or Twister sniping. But it was the first time that it picked up on the beat a little bit more than normal. Wild Star was the first hip hop movie that came out. It built the culture up. It gave you a chance to see all the forms of hip hop, from the breakdancing to the MCing, to the graffiti writing, to the politics, to the fashion. And I do want to mention some things about the fashion. It was a lot of Kangol, it was a lot of suede Pumas, it was a lot of Jordache, Calvin Klein, it was a lot of Adidas. It was a lot of things going on, and I'm talking about the earlier years. I don't want y'all to look at me like I'm a grandpa on here talking about some earlier years. This is all about the learning process. So just stay tuned, and we're going to get through this together, The world was really starting to feel the effects of the impact of hip-hop was starting to make. Like the Grandmaster Flash Furious 5 release, The Message, that What You Feel rap was introduced. Like it brought more of the feeling out instead of just the let's dance and party stuff. It brought more of the I would say it went from party to poverty in a way, if you want to catch my drift on that one. It went from party to poverty. You could feel it a lot more the way they were expressing words and expressing certain things. So the feeling was different, and you could feel it through the music too. The vibrance of the music was crazy back then. Run DMC released Sucker MCs, and it's like that, and that's the way it is. I mean, classic. That was before the era of the My Adidas, and before they did the song with Aerosmith. This was way before then, so we're gonna catch up. We're gonna catch up to that. Then you got the Beastie Boys, who came out and incorporated punk rap. And that's when, if you saw those videos on my Instagram page, that's when you start seeing that the older school was starting to fall back a little. They was just let the new kids ride on these beats. Let them do their thing, so we don't have to, always be the standard, because they were changing the standard. Run DMC was just starting. They was just starting to smash the game at that point. Ice-T came out also, and then they introduced something called Yo MTV Raps around this time. And my guy, it was three of them really. It was Fab Five Freddy and Ed Lover and Doc Dre. You know what I mean? Y'all already know who I'm talking about. If you remember the time, you remember the time, like Michael Jackson said. But it was definitely that time to be part of the hip hop game. It was almost like you couldn't get around it at that point, because it was our culture, basically having that feeling of uplifting. So I have to give it to that matter of time. And plus, seeing videos for the first time and bringing the music to a visual was crazy back then. Shout out to MTV for doing that. And that's about to go off the air, so that was a good segue right into that. MTV is about to stop airing very soon. It is going off the air after, I would say, almost 40 years of videography and whatever else they put on their channel. All right, we're gonna move it right over into, like I said, we're gonna get back into the fashion again, and this time I'm gonna bring up a little fashion news. Prada bought Versace, for 1.4 billion, which was a pure power move and brand resurrection for Versace. I know Fashion Nova had to be real mad. I know. They bootleg more Versace than Versace could even bring out bootlegs to be bootleg. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hating on them, but now I see why Versace's making a resurrection and going somewhere that, they got bought out. But yeah, because Fashion Nova was really taking over. They were taking over Versace. You know what I mean? I couldn't tell the difference no more between Versace and Fashion Nova at a certain point. That's pretty funny. And shout out to the ladies who, who swag it out, you know what I mean? No, I'm not trying to be offensive of anything, but it is pretty funny though that, Fashion Nova did take over Versace. More than anybody else, sneakers are worth checking out. It's already on the Instagram page. Only the sneakers worth checking out. I'm putting them on here at this point. I do have them coming up. Westside Gunn did drop some Sauconys. I did want to mention that. That would be kind of awkward if I didn't mention his shoes. Shout out to Westside Gunn and the whole Griselda family. I am going to start putting up some 80s fashion when I do this Fundamental Facts Friday chapters. It's just a little bit more entertaining, but it's like I got to drop like 3 to 4 different posts just to get my views up where they need to be at. And I do appreciate my 14 subs and my almost over 200 views. Every step of the way counts, because it's all about learning. And I'm learning as much as I can at the same time, but at the same time, this is a lot of work, more than I thought it would be. I know a lot of people looking at me on here right now and be like, all you doing is sitting in front of the camera about 10 to 15 minutes and just talking. It's a lot of work, because you got to put work into what you're saying. This is all about receipts. This is just letting people see that hip hop is going to live forever. So we got to know our history. So I'm gonna take it from the beginning, and I'm gonna bring out a lot of the songs that I liked, freestyles that I like. But again, it's been one heck of a ride. This is the 10th episode, so we'll see what happens when I get to 15 or 20 or 30. I hope I can keep going. But at the same time, I've been tripping. I'm tripping with the vibe here. Hey, I don't really have too much else to say about Fundamental Facts Friday, so you already know what I'm about to do. I'm out.